When their father died, Daniel and Michael inherited the one thing their family had fought to protect for generations, a vast piece of land on the edge of the city. At first, the brothers promised to share it equally, but Daniel soon discovered something that changed everything. The land was worth millions. For the first few weeks, everything seemed peaceful. Michael wanted to build a home on his half of the land, but Daniel had a different plan. One evening, Daniel discovered that a company was willing to pay millions for the entire property, and suddenly, sharing the land with his brother no longer seemed like a good idea. The next morning, Daniel found Michael working on the property. "We need to talk," Daniel said. He told Michael about the company willing to buy the land, but then Daniel made a shocking demand. He wanted the entire property for himself. Michael stared at his brother. "No, Daniel. Dad left this land to both of us." For the first time, the brothers realized their father's inheritance could destroy their family. That night, Daniel met secretly with the company's representative. He had made his decision. He would get the entire property, even if Michael refused to sell. But there was one problem. Michael owned half of the land. Daniel looked across the table and asked quietly, "What happens if my brother is no longer around to stop the sale?" The room fell silent. The next morning, Michael noticed something strange. Daniel was no longer arguing with him. Instead, he was unusually calm. Michael became suspicious. That evening, he called his wife, Sarah, and told her everything. "Something is wrong," he said. Sarah looked at him carefully. "Then you need to be careful, Michael." Neither of them knew that someone was already watching them from a distance. The following morning, Michael received a message from Daniel. "Meet me at the old barn. We need to settle this." Michael didn't know it would be the last time he would speak to his brother. He left home without telling Sarah where he was going. As Michael approached the old barn, Daniel was already waiting. And this time, Daniel wasn't there to negotiate. Michael stepped inside the old barn. Daniel was waiting. "I gave you a chance," Daniel said. Michael shook his head. "You gave me nothing. This land belongs to both of us." Daniel's expression hardened. "You always had to stand in my way." Michael turned toward the door, but before he could leave, Daniel made a decision that would change both families forever. That evening, Michael never came home. Sarah waited. She called his phone again and again, but there was no answer. Hours passed. Then the police arrived at the farmhouse. They told Sarah that Michael had been found dead near the old barn. Her world collapsed, but Daniel stood nearby, pretending to be just as devastated. No one knew what had really happened. Not yet. Weeks passed after Michael's death. Sarah was struggling to rebuild her life. Then one evening, Daniel came to her house. He sat across from her in silence before finally speaking. "Sarah, I know this is difficult, but you and the children need someone." Sarah looked at him, confused. Then Daniel said the words she never expected to hear. "Marry me." Sarah stared at him in disbelief. She didn't know why Michael's brother wanted to marry her so soon after his death, but something about Daniel's request made her afraid. Sarah didn't accept Daniel's proposal. That night, while going through Michael's belongings, she found an old wooden box hidden beneath his clothes. Inside was an envelope with her name on it. Her hands began to shake as she opened it. There was only one message. "Sarah, if you are reading this, something happened to me. Do not trust Daniel." Sarah froze. For the first time, she wondered if Michael's death had really been an accident. Sarah couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Michael's final warning. The next morning, she secretly visited the old barn. She searched through the area where Michael had been found. Then she noticed something beneath a loose wooden floorboard, a small metal box. Inside was Michael's phone. Sarah stared at it in disbelief. Why had the police never mentioned it? And then the phone suddenly turned on. There was one unfinished recording, a recording Michael had made on the night he died. Sarah pressed play. Michael's voice came through the phone. "Sarah, if you're hearing this, I don't have much time." Sarah covered her mouth as tears filled her eyes. Michael continued. "Daniel knows about the land documents. He's been lying to everyone." The recording suddenly stopped. Sarah stared at the phone. Then she heard footsteps outside the barn. Someone was coming. She quickly hid the phone. The barn door slowly opened. Daniel stepped inside. He looked directly at Sarah. "What are you doing here?" Sarah said nothing. She simply looked at him. Now she knew. Daniel was hiding something. To be continued.